Hello viewers, welcome back to the second part of the December edition of the Anew series. This part we are going to cover about defense, infrastructure and corporate events. In defense, we have a very interesting development, something that we have never seen before. India, as we covered in the previous Anew series, had always been traditionally been a good armament supply base before World War II, but kind of it went into a limbo after that, and now it's getting back on its feet. So for the first time in the history, India has offered its Tejas light combat aircraft to the US Navy. Now, the US Navy had floated a tender for request of information with respect to new fighter jet trainer required for its pilot training on aircraft carriers. Now, the LCA, or the light combat aircraft Tejas Mark 1A variant, meets all the basic parameters like capability to provide a field carrier landing practice and carrier touch and go events. Now, usually India has always been buying the aircraft from either the Russians or recently we bought from the French. Earlier we had bought the Mirage, now we had bought the Rafale, and we have also been doing a lot of purchase from US. And now this is a role reversal. I think it's a sign of things to come, whether we win the order or we are not going to win the order. I think it's the sign of a maturity of our defense industry flowering up, and it's going to lay a foundation for a lot more private sector participation in defense, because just before this particular event, India had been exporting a lot of small arms and also the BrahMos missiles, which it had manufactured in technological collaboration with the Russians. And the next event is Indian Navy has combined its procurement with Indian Air Force for its aircraft. Now, after we have had the Chief of Defence Staff coming up as a post, there has been a lot of rationalization in the approach of all the three services, and in the same direction, the Air Force has actually come up with a tender for 114 fighter jets. Now, Navy needed multi-role fighters to operate from its indigenous aircraft carrier, which is currently under product being built in Kochi. Now, India may also be going for a third aircraft carrier after this, but just to meet the needs of this multi-role jet, it has decided to combine its requirement along with the Air Force tender for 114 fighters. This is once again a very positive step, because we are going to see a rationalization of expenses, efforts and time. In a very important development, considering that we are having a lot more work to do with respect to threat from both the flanks in the east and north from China and west from Pakistan. The army has gone ahead and created two new posts. One of the posts that it has created is the Deputy Chief of Army Staff Strategy. So we had a Chief of Army Staff and we also had a Deputy Chief of Army Staff, and there was this feeling that the Deputy Chief of Army Staff's workload has been very high, and therefore creating a new post only for the strategic, where a lot of other departments including intelligence will report to the strategy Deputy Chief of Army Staff strategy, is going to ensure that the top level is going to have a much more razor sharp focus into their nature of responsibilities and probably deliver much better results. The second post which has been created is very interesting, is Director General of Information Warfare. Now, this once again reminds us of the famous Hitler's information dissemination, who always was supposed to be lying around with respect to his victory. But in the recent time, we have always been seeing that the information warfare has been upped by some of the countries in our neighborhood, and therefore having a separate Director General only for this, which will also focus a lot on the digital platform information dissemination and the challenges and risks associated with this, is once again a very welcome step. Moving away from defense, we have a lot of things to cover on infrastructure. One of the very important decisions that government has taken is to create 50 LNG filling stations along the Golden Triangle. This is nothing but liquefied nitrogen gas. The objective is basically to increase the share of LNG from 6% to 15%. Now, we have seen that Delhi has been one of the city capitals which has actually had mandated their public transport system, including the auto, buses and even the heavy vehicles passing through its city, to compulsorily use the compressed natural or liquefied natural gas for their as a fuel. Now, we have seen that whenever we use LNG as a fuel, the sulfur dioxide emissions and nitrogen emissions get reduced up by 85%. Now sulfur dioxide is corrosive, and then reducing it is once again good for the health and also for the health of the vehicles. The transport sector in India consumes about 40% of the diesel sold in India. And the idea of the government is, after this golden triangle experiment, is to have nearly 1,000 LNG fuel pumps across India in 3 years' time. And slowly India has given a commitment in the Paris Climate Accord that it will reduce its gas emissions over a period of time. Apart from the solar adoption, this is once again a very positive step that the government is taking to reduce pollution. The second is of very strategic importance, and is of something of massive size. Now India is considering to build a 100 gigawatt hydropower project in Arunachal Pradesh. We don't have a hydropower project of this size and capability. Now, why are we trying to do it? Because this is both of strategic importance and economic importance. This is in direct response to China's decision to build a massive dam in mighty Brahmaputra. Now, we had seen during the recent skirmish in near the Songpo lake, where China had used water as a tool to wash away the Indian soldiers. So they had created a small mini dam, and when the Indian soldiers were trying to cross the river, they busted open it, and a lot of the Indian soldiers were washed away. Now water is once again being used as a tool by our neighboring country to cause damage to us. So one of the thoughts that China could be the reason behind China building the dam is not only to divert this water for its own agriculture purpose, but it could also use it as a weapon to destroy the upper Assam and lower Assam regions. Now because it's building a dam and it could create a potential damage, this 10 gigawatt huge hydropower project in Arunachal Pradesh can not only generate the electricity and provide surplus power to northeastern region, because northeastern region there's been a lot of focus now by the government to industrialize the states. This could provide a lot of power which could once again be sold to countries like Nepal, Bhutan and Bangladesh. Of course Bhutan, we have been buying a lot of hydropower electric from them, but Bangladesh has been a consumer for Indian power. It could also be strategic with respect to nullifying any sudden discharge of water from the dam that China is proposing to construct. And another very important thing with government's focus with respect to northeastern states has been a 19.3 kilometer long road bridge will be built over Brahmaputra. Now this will be India's longest bridge, which will connect Dhubri in Assam to Fulbari in Meghalaya, and this particular bridge will slash the travel distance by 203 kilometers. Now this will be built along with National Highway 127B, and it's expected to be completed in 2026 and 2027. So the necessity for building these bridges across Brahmaputra is a very wide river, and sometimes during monsoons to cross over is very difficult. And even from a strategic perspective, once you have these bridges built across northeast, we'll be able to move our troops and armored corps very easily. So this is both strategic and also from an economic development perspective and people's benefit. The next one is once again, next very important development that happened, maybe it was noticed but it went quiet, was a 30 gigawatt capacity of electricity farm was created with a combination of solar and wind power in Kutch district of Gujarat. Now this has been built along with a 10 crore liter desal plant on nearly 72,600 hectares of wasteland in Kutch. Now we know Kutch is a marshy land. It's sometimes also looked at as a desert because nothing grows there. It has a vast land just on the border with Pakistan, and therefore it also provides an opportunity for infiltration. Now to create an economic possibility over there is something which is commendable, because we are not only going to produce 30 gigawatt of electricity both from solar and wind power. After Tamil Nadu, Gujarat has a very high wind power potential. Apart from creating the electricity, this electricity will be used for by the desalination plant and also supplied to rest of the Gujarat. And the water created from the desalination plant will be supplied to a lot of towns in Gujarat. Now this, I think, is the way a lot of the coastal cities are going to adopt as we move forward. The next is the Bangalore Suburban project is getting ready to start work. Now, this is a 15,767 crore public-private partnership enterprise, and interestingly, government has taken a 30-year lease for the 306 AC coaches. Now, Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata all had established suburban systems, but Bangalore somehow, unfortunately, never focused on suburban system. It just is about having beginning to have a good network of metro stations, but having a suburban system carries a large number of people from hinterland to the town, and can also provide a circular railway across the city. Now, the 3 railway corridors that will be developed will be Bangalore city to Devanahalli, Baipanahalli to Chikbanbara, and Kengeri to Whitefield. Now, the uniqueness of this program is now government is not planning to fund it completely, but they are trying to use lease as a model from the equipment supplier to build up this great suburban system. Viewers, please stay tuned. We are going to come up with the next part of Anew series, where we'll be covering the corporate events, innovation and trends. I'm sure it's going to keep you very interesting and thought-provoking. Stay tuned, stay healthy till we come up with the next episode. Thank you so much for being part of this journey. Please click the bell icon, subscribe to our services, and give us all your encouragements and comments so that we can come up with even greater content that would satisfy your intellectual needs. Thank you so much.